So I really don't remember the last time I was here. Maybe sometime in the 90s. Chinese fried chicken, skin on that chicken that seems to have a bit of a crackle. I want to taste one of those wontons. That's hot. There's slivers of garlic in that. This is the hot and spicy mala spice prawns. Medium-sized prawns. It's a bit tangy, but then there's the heat that probably comes from pepper. The Changa fried rice. To me, the test of a good fried rice is, can you eat that just by itself? Go for some of that bean curd, some of the tofu. That comes as a bit of a soothing balm on the back of that spicy chili oil laden dan noodle. Hi folks, welcome to a new episode of The Review, a new show here on Food Lovers TV where it's just you, me and the food. I hope you've got the earlier episodes in this series. If not, I'm going to link it in the description below. Do take a look. So in this series, we are covering Bengaluru restaurants from the 90s that were a special outing back then and are still relevant today. Up until now, we've covered the earliest multi-cuisine restaurant. We've covered a neighborhood restaurant that brought Punjabi curries and kebabs to Bengaluru. We've done an old classic that serves South Canara food. We've done a seafood restaurant as well, and also some Mangalorean fare. This afternoon, we are on our way to explore a cuisine that, though originally from a land far away, has evolved and assimilated so many influences locally within the years that it's created a new category of cuisine more popularly referred to as Indian Chinese food. So when it comes to Bengaluru, the earliest Chinese restaurants opened sometime in the 80s, but many of them closed over the years. And today only a handful of them remain, and amongst them perhaps the most popular and relevant even back in the 90s and today as well is Changa. Now over the years, Changa has opened many branches across Bengaluru. But we are going to the original outpost, the place where it all began on Residency Crossroad. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Restaurants open?
Yes, sir. Open, sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
Thank you very much.
Years running, sir.
37 years.
Sir.
That means you opened in which year?
I did, sir.
88.
88, sir.
So I really don't remember the last time I was here. Maybe sometime in the 90s. Actually, this entire series has been wonderful for me also to rediscover some of these old gems of Bengaluru. You know, I'm talking about a Bengaluru 25, 28 years ago when there were only a handful of restaurants. You didn't have to think too much about where to go. You knew these restaurants, they served standard fare, and that's where you headed. And Changa here on Residency Crossroad was certainly one of them. While it was a special outing back then, today because you know you have a Changa everywhere, it doesn't seem that special anymore. So when you look at this restaurant, you got to look at it from the perspective of somebody who enjoyed a meal at this place about 27, 28 years ago. I like the line on the menu, preserve the old, but know the new. Nice to see pictures on a menu always. Gives you a sense of what their signatures are, I suppose. The manner in which this cuisine came into India is quite interesting. So the earliest Chinese immigrants came to Kolkata sometime in the late 18th century. Whether they were bought by the British to work on plantations or maybe they came to India to pursue opportunities. Kolkata was linked by a land route. They were mostly in plantations, they were working in the port, they were in the leather business, in the furniture business as well. But people have to eat, right? So you had community kitchens that began, and then eventually I guess the locals also wanted a taste of that food, and that's how many of the local influences, the spices, etc. came into Chinese food, and thus was born the Sino-Indian food that we know of today. And these Chinese cooks over a period of time traveled from Kolkata to other parts of the country, and that's how we've got Changa here in Bengaluru. What's your name?
My name is Ganesh, sir.
Mr. Ganesh,
Yes.
You're the manager here?
Yes, sir.
Maybe the last time I came here was 27, 28 years ago.
Okay.
You like Chinese food too?
Yes, sir. I'm working 37 years, sir. This restaurant, sir.
37 years?
Yes, and when the opening started, I came here, sir.
Oh my God. So what was it like back then, 37 years ago?
It's a different kind of, sir. Little different kind of food, sir. Now, little changes is there in the menu.
Chinese restaurant 37 years ago. Nobody knew what Chinese was.
Yeah, before nobody know Chinese. Now it's everywhere get in the cart and road, everywhere. What is Chinese? Is asked. Nobody know what's the Chinese food. Only know noodle, that's all. Nobody know any other food, any dish name, different kind of food. Snake, that so many questions will ask.
So that time Chinese was snakes and frogs and things like that.
Chinese.
And the owners are Chinese. They're from...
Yeah, from Calcutta, sir.
From Kolkata.
Calcutta, Chinese, sir.
Fantastic. So I've ordered a bunch of dishes, knowing fully well that I cannot cover everything that this place is probably known for. In some of the reviews that I read online, I am told that the pork dishes too are quite popular. But I've ordered some of the standard dishes that people would typically order. So in addition to the Chinese, there also is a smattering of Thai that I see here. I see a tom yum soup there. So I guess if somebody wants like a Thai red curry or a green curry, they have that too.
Chinese fried chicken?
Chinese fried chicken. This is half.
Yes, sir. Half portion.
Half portion is also quite big enough.
Big one, yes, sir.
The food here, portions are large.
Yeah, last portion, sir.
Well, this is a sort of kitchen that will throw out your food in a hurry, and I mean that in a good way. So I've got a veg soup, a veg wonton soup. I've got a chicken wonton soup. And then we also have the golden fried prawns. This is a dish that I'm seriously looking forward to tasting. And what they've told me is that they do fresh prawns here. They don't do frozen prawns, which is nice. And then we've got half a portion of this Chinese fried chicken. The skin on that chicken that seems to have a bit of a crackle. I'm going to begin very quickly with the soup. Veg wonton soup. I can taste a bit of the umami hit that comes from the seasonings right away. There's a nice flavorful broth. You've got some greens in there. I want to taste one of those wontons. That's hot. I like the flavor punch that's coming perhaps also from some coriander stalks in this. I also like the crunch of the juliennes of carrot. Certainly a soup that is comforting, but I think this time around I'm going to break that wonton just so that I don't scald my mouth again. But something shouldn't be broken, I suppose, because I've lost all my vegetable filling to the broth. So it's quite loaded with the veggies. And the veggies are nice and crunchy. I think next, that chicken wonton. Wontons are nice and plump. I want to taste that broth first, just as is. I think the difference between this and the vegetable broth is certainly the depth of flavor that you're tasting in this, as opposed to the vegetable broth. The seasoning is just perfect. That bit of umami punch that you need. Both the soups that I've tasted are the standard in terms of what you would expect in a good Indo-Chinese restaurant. Now that's the sort of plate that one is used to seeing when you're typically dining in a Chinese restaurant, right? You've ordered a few dishes and all of that gets served to your plate. What I want to taste first is that golden fried prawn. It's been a while since I've tasted one, and I'm hoping that this is the sort that hits the spot. Great in its flavor. I'm also enjoying the seasoning in that batter. The prawns are the sort that are perhaps a little subdued by the batter, and that's owing to the size of the prawns. But other than that, on the flavor quotient, definitely it's well. You've got that nice crisp crunch as you bite into it, and then you've got that airy, almost bready sort of a inside. Only wish the prawns were a little bigger. And then there's a hot garlic sauce that I'm told goes well with the prawn. There's slivers of garlic in that. Also the sort that isn't oily, but I think it's perhaps let down by the size of the prawn. So as I bite into it initially, I get the prawn, but later it's the breadiness of the batter that I'm chewing on. But the prawns have a nice springiness to it. It's cooked just right. On that note, I'm going to go for the other prawn dish in my plate. This is the hot and spicy mala spice prawns. Medium-sized prawns. It's a bit tangy, but then there's the heat that probably comes from pepper, or I'm not sure if there's some Sichuan peppercorns that also go into this. This is only a dish that I would rate over that golden fried prawns. Enjoying it so much so that I want to go for another serving of the prawn. Also slivers of onion. Also the batter in this is a sort that's not really taking away from the flavor of the prawn. I can feel the chili heat that's holding on to my palate even as I make tracks for that Chinese fried chicken. That was a messy bite, pardon me. I can taste the flavor of the five spice in this. That aromatic. It's got a nice crust, but on the inside the chicken is nice and moist. This one's a winner. This is the sort of chicken that you want to extract the little pieces off the bone. Very good. Get a piece with enough of the skin holding onto that meat. It's been a while since I've tasted a Chinese fried chicken. I love that crisp crackle of that skin. It's near translucent. I don't know if you can catch that. The body is nice and moist inside. That's a definite must order. The Chinese fried chicken. Places like these that have been around for a while, unless you see them, they slip out of your mind. And with respect to Chunghwa too, not on my radar at all. And also because they have so many other Chunghwas all over the place, you may have gotten some food catered from there. So the food travels 30-40 minutes, gets to you, gets served to you in a suboptimal sort of a condition. So you don't really think too much of the food. But having visited the restaurant, ordered the food, it comes fresh to you from the kitchen. I've quite enjoyed both the soups that I tasted. Chinese fried chicken, I think, is a sort that is a definite must order. The prawns, I enjoyed the spicy prawns more than the golden fried prawns. But having said that, all the dishes are the sort that are quite enjoyable. So whenever you go to a restaurant, you'll find dishes that please you at various levels, right? And that's typically what I found here. It's nice to see that even after 37, 38 years, restaurants like these are doing solid work. Speaks in the clientele that I see all around. I see expats, I see locals, I see office goers, I see a bunch of people out here.
Dandan meat, vegetables, mild spicy, the garlic is there, light chili is there, chungwa fried rice, special rice of a chungwa, the prawn and mushroom, egg and chicken.
I've got 4 of my main course dishes here. The bowls are big, which is a good sign, so which means you've got nice hearty portions. All the dishes that I've tasted here, I think each portion is a sort that would easily feed 2 or 3 people. I'm not kidding, but I think the food that I've ordered is good enough for at least 4 people, if not 5, with a moderate appetite. So what do I have here? Go to a Chinese restaurant, you have to do a fried rice, and this is what they call the Changa fried rice, which is with the mixed meat. So I can see some mushrooms there, some prawns, some chicken, and then I have the dandan noodle. Basically, this is a dish that comes from the Sichuan province. It's actually a noodle that would traditionally be served by hawkers back in China, and dandan refers to the pole on which they would suspend 2 baskets on either side. The pole is called dandan. One basket, I guess, would have the noodle, the other basket would have the sauce, etc. And that's how the dandan noodle came to be called. So it's the ultimate hawker food, so to speak. And then we have a mixed vegetable here, light soya sauce. There's some broccoli there, some tofu, some cauliflower, some baby corn, carrots, spinach, etc. And then I said, well, you know, when you do a Chinese meal, you have to do a dish that is as Indo-Chinese as it can get, and this is the chicken manchurian. There's a story behind the chicken manchurian. I'm sure most of you know it. this is how you would find your plate typically in a Chinese restaurant, right? A little bit of everything. I want to taste that rice first just by itself. The Changa fried rice. You got the nice smoky flavor of the wok that comes through, followed by the seasoning. Smokiness is also referred to as wok hai, or the breath of the wok, the vessel in which they cook the Chinese dishes. I've got that now wafting through my mouth. To me, the test of a good fried rice is, can you eat that just by itself? Does it have that smokiness? Is it still moist? It should not be dry. And ideally with little chunks of meat and also some slivers of egg to complete, to give you that protein boost. And the shrimp is cooked just enough, not hard in the least at all. I would have expected it to be a little more moist, but you never know. The bit of the smoky chili hit that I'm tasting in that right away. But the noodle does feel a bit dry. I cannot taste the flavor of the chili oil that goes into the making of this dan dan noodle. And as a sort, that grips hold of your throat as that noodle works its way down. Certainly a pleasing noodle, but if you like it spicy, well, the dan dan noodle is what you should go for. But I think I need some respite from that chili heat, and therefore some of the veggies in that white sauce or the light soya sauce. So I've got some tofu there, I've got some broccoli, some baby corn, some cauliflower and some greens. Go for some of that bean curd, some of the tofu. That comes as a bit of a soothing balm on the back of that spicy chili oil laden dan dan noodle. This is a sort of standard Sino-Indian Chinese food that you would expect. The seasoning is just perfect, not over salty, not over spicy. The veggies have been blanched just to the right point before they've been introduced to the sauce, and therefore they're still very crisp. I want to get some more of the greens on my plate. I'm pleasantly happy to find this meal here at Changa. So things change. Things change in the matter of a few years, but here you're talking about a passage of time that numbers 3 decades. And I'm sure there will be those that say that it's not the same as before. But to them, tell me what is the same as before in today's world, right? So if you were to compare something from 30 years ago, well, things are not the same anymore. The ingredients that go into the making of these dishes are not the same anymore, right? We see the change in taste, we see the change in flavors when we cook at home. A dish that may have been made by our parents, by our mother, by our grandmother 30 years ago. Even if you use the same recipe today, it may not taste the same. So how will food in restaurants like these remain the same? Because the ingredients have changed, the hands that work those ingredients have changed, and therefore it's natural to find a change. But what's important is, given the parameters that have changed, is the eatery doing its best to endeavor to serve the same kind of dishes that they used to earlier? I think that's important. Because if you keep looking for that dish that you tasted 30 years ago, that same flavor, you will not find it. And last but not the least, I think even our palates have evolved, right? So maybe 30 years ago, we had a certain benchmark for our palate, which was perhaps limited. In the last 30 years, we've traveled, we've tasted a lot more food, and therefore our palate too has evolved. But that food may not have changed much, right? So therefore, in relation to your palate too, that dish will not feel the same. So therefore, my request to those who constantly keep harping on that the food is not the same, the dish is not the same, well, forget it. It's never going to be the same. Enjoy it for what it is on your plate today. I like the manner in which they cook the prawns. There's that light springiness, cooked just to the point where the prawn is no longer translucent, it's just about turned opaque and pink. On that note, some of that Manchurian, chicken Manchurian. tasting a bit of sweetness through the ginger, garlic, chili heat. Ideally, I would have preferred this a little saucier, but they've decided to serve me a dry version. So the story behind the chicken Manchurian is very interesting. So this dish was supposedly invented by a Chinese cook called Nelson Wang somewhere in the early 70s. So he was a Chinese cook who had moved to Mumbai, to Bombay back then from Calcutta, and he was catering Chinese food at the CCI, the Cricket Club of India. And one of the guests came up to him and said, cook me something different. And so what Nelson Wang did is that he took all the typical Indian ingredients, crushed garlic, he took some ginger, some onions, loads of chilies, and he tossed that in a pan or a wok. And then instead of adding the typical Indian garam masala, he added the Chinese sauces, be it the soy sauce, the chili sauce or something else, and then he added some chicken to it. And that resulting dish came to be known as chicken Manchurian. And of course, since then we've got loads of creations that are inspired by the Manchurian to our very own favorite street food, the gobi manchuri. So typically in this, the chicken is deep fried first with some cornstarch just to thicken it, give the chicken a little more weight. But what I'm not a fan of here is that the cornstarch is peeling away from the chicken. So to me, this is the dish that isn't executed as well as the others. So from the main courses, my pick would definitely be the fried rice, especially if you like mixed meats. The daan daan noodle too, if you like something spicy. And for vegetarians, well, I think this was a star of the main courses for me. Thank you. So all the dishes that we tasted, the golden fried prawns, the Chinese fried chicken half, the dan dan vegetarian noodle, the fried rice, changba fried rice, the mixed veg with the white sauce, the prawn mala, which is the spicy prawns, the chicken Manchurian and the wonton soup. All of that amounts to 2,635 rupees. So places like these are also the sort where you can have a hearty meal without really breaking the bank, right? And like I said, this is the sort of food that would easily feed about 5 people. So for a taste of old school Bengaluru Indo-Chinese food, definitely check out Changa. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're new here and haven't subscribed to the channel yet, well, definitely subscribe. And if you've been watching for a while and haven't subscribed yet, well, I'd urge you to subscribe. It really helps us in the work that we do. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
We use only jeera sambar. We don't compromise on any other rice.
Oh, wonderful. And your name is Mimi Chung.
Mimi Chung.
So who began this?
My father.
Your father began this.
But then took off with my brother and my brother-in-law and myself.
So the food that you get at Changa Residency Crossroad is different from what you get elsewhere?
Slightly, because it depends on cook to cook.
Ah.
This is the centralized.
The centralized.
Yeah.
And
we supply all the sauces all over.
Okay. So nice to meet you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, it was wonderful to also meet Mrs. Mimi Chung. So the family began Changa in the 80s and are still personally involved to this day. I think that speaks for commitment, and I guess it also reflects in what you taste and also the customers who've been frequenting here for nearly 40 years. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.